We're going to go vacuum the baby pools. The baby pools have a built-in vacuum system, so we need the hose, we need the vacuum head, and we need a tennis ball. First thing you'll want to do before vacuuming the pool is clean the basket on the deck. For the 3-foot pool, there's just this one basket. Sometimes there are dead frogs and cockroaches in there, and you have to grab it anyway. If you want to use gloves, you're welcome to do that. If there's just grass, you can empty it out into the grass. If there's trash or a large amount of leaves, make sure that you dump it into a trash can. This basket has a rock. That rock's supposed to be in there. It keeps the basket down so that it collects everything you're supposed to collect. To vacuum using the built-in system, you have to unroll the hose. Push it down onto your vacuum head. And feed the hose into the pool so that you don't get any air into the filter. The vacuum will work a lot better if you do that. As you push the hose down, you should see the water come up right as you get to the end. In this opening where you took the basket out of, there is an inlet and an outlet leading to the filter system. Push the hose through the opening, and then you can set your hand over those holes and determine which one is sucking, which one is pushing, and make sure you put the vacuum hose into the one that's sucking. Now, as long as you've kept your vacuum underwater, then you have suction and you can begin to vacuum the pool. Go slowly so the vacuum head stays flat, and make sure that you collect all of the silt and leaves off the bottom of the pool. Okay, we're done vacuuming, so we need to unplug the hose, put the basket back in, and put the lid back down. Moving to the peanut pool, there are 2 baskets on the deck to clean. One basket here. Now, to make the vacuum work, since there are 2 inlets, you actually have to take the tennis ball and put your hand over those holes, just like in the 3-foot pool, and set the tennis ball over the hole that is sucking air in. The pressure of the vacuum should hold the tennis ball in place, and that will increase the suction coming from the other side. Now that we have the tennis ball in place and the basket's cleared, we're ready to vacuum the peanut pool. The same process, we use the same process as with the 3-foot pool. Set your vacuum head in, and then feed the hose in to try to eliminate as much air as possible. It's often easier to feed the hose in the middle of the pool because that's a deeper section of the water. Again, we'll bring the hose through the opening, find the hole that has suction, and plug in our vacuum hose. And we're ready to go. When we're done vacuuming, unplug the vacuum, place the basket back down into the hole, put the lid on, make sure you do the other side as well. And don't forget to pull out your tennis ball. On the hose reel, there's a hook. Snap the hose into the hook, feed the head inside of the hose reel. And that holds it in place for you while you start to load it. Make sure to wind it tight or you'll run out of room on your reel or your hose. After you vacuum the baby pools, you have to go clean the filter baskets because all that grass and all those leaves had to go somewhere. That's in here. The filter baskets are here and here. To empty them, you need to first shut off the pump. The pumps are labeled. You can see the number 2 on this pipe that goes to that filter basket. So we're going to turn off breaker number 2. You come over to the breaker panel, and this circuit breaker is labeled number 2. I turned off breaker number 1 so that we can hear ourselves also. So when we come over to basket number 2 from filter number 2, you have to open the lid and empty out this basket with all the yummy, yummy stuff that we vacuumed up. Set the basket back in place. Make sure the rubber gasket is set in its little groove, and make sure there's no dirt in that groove. And then we're going to take the hose and we're actually going to stick it in the basket and down the pipe a little bit. I'm going to turn it on high and shoot myself. Keep the camera going, go ahead.
I'm scared.
I'm going to hold the hose this time and turn it on high. And we're trying to fill the pipe back to the pool so that there's not as much air in the filter system. We'll let it run for a little bit. Then I'm going to quickly turn it off, pull it out, and put the lid on. Tighten it down, and turn on breaker number 2. You'll notice that this used to be full of water when we stopped it. Now it's full of air. To get rid of that air, as the pump starts pumping again, we have to come over to this tank, the filter tank, and we have to loosen the valve by twisting. When you get it open, you'll start to hear a hiss, and you'll be able to feel air coming out of this opening. Don't stand in front of it because once the air is all gone, it will shoot water out that opening. While the air is bleeding out of that system, we'll go over to pump number 1. I'm going to take that lid off. And it's kind of tricky to get the basket out. When it does come out, you just kind of have to squeeze it past the pipe. Meanwhile, you notice that we're now shooting water with the air. We'll let a little more of the air come out of this tank. And when we start getting a good stream of water like that, we're going to close this valve. And when you look inside where the basket goes, and you see that it's full of water and very little air, then you know that we've let the air out of the system. Close it up and turn back on filter number 1. We also need to bleed this line into that open valve at the top. And open it until you feel the air coming out. And then let it sit while the air bleeds out of the system. And when we're getting a good stream of water,